Hello everyone, welcome to our 11th stream of X Growth. We have been doing this for last 11 streams and maybe it's 20 days now when we started. And so far it's been quite a journey. Today with us we have Jax Baker as guest, and our panel doesn't need an. I don't think our panel needs an introduction for our regular viewers, but still, we have Yash Rana, we have Avinav Singh, we have Sanjay Thakur, and obviously you guys have me, and you have to bear me. So today's topic is it's quite very fascinating for me. Like we simplified the topic um, a little bit from our end so that we can have we can basically go more in depth into it. And I have also made a post 15 minutes before the stream, but before we actually go live, let me just quickly check. I believe there is some technical difficulty from
I guess you are
uh,
live already.
yeah, I'm just
Okay.
checking it out.
hmm
So yeah, maybe I was checking on on the wrong place.
hmm
Yes, we are live. So, with that, we will start now, and we over to you, Jax.
Hi, what do you want to know? I'm Jackie. I am a brand strategist, but I have been deep diving into AI over the last 2 years. And I think that we need more conversations with maybe less about the tech people that understand what's going on and more about the people that aren't tech and that need to kind of know what's ahead of us because um, from what I can understand, there's going to be huge amounts of change and people aren't going to be prepared for it. So that's what I would love to talk to you guys about. Yeah, I'm better at answering questions, but I also love hearing other people talk. So tell
Yeah.
me what your format is.
Well, when I first went into entrepreneurship, I had no idea about it. And usually, first time founders usually get fascinated by their own tech. And I was also the same. Instead of focusing on business strategy, marketing, I also more of I focused 90% of my time into tech. So, but I slowly, with time, I realized that tech is not the most important thing. Both of those panels, both business and tech, are both business, marketing, and tech have equal values. Like it's 33, 33, 33. You cannot just ignore one of them to move forward unless until you are doing something out of the world.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing out of the world, people automatically start noticing you. But that was my experience on that.
Mm. So today's topic is really interesting. We are going to cover the potential and the impact of AI on the jobs, on the skills of the future, and we also want to break some myth and also shift to the realities. Okay, this is the reality, and these are the myths made up. So that this is what we are looking for today. By the way, we are glad to have you, Jax, and I appreciate you coming onto our live stream and have this amazing session. So yeah, let's hear about your journey, right? First, like, yeah, tell
Uh,
us about your journey.
So my journey, I guess, I have been in the tech marketing branding space for 20 years. So I've definitely worked with companies to implement like email marketing and Facebook marketing back in 2007, 2009, and realized that there was, that the bricks and mortar businesses and the small business to business services, they are usually they're kind of the small businesses and independent businesses are often so overwhelmed just trying to keep themselves in business that they don't keep ahead with technology because they're very fixed in the way that they're doing things. And so then I had an agency. I worked for the Australian government. They gave me a contract to be a business digital business coach. So they pay like they gave me a contract to teach businesses about social media, and I probably worked with about 400 businesses in Melbourne, Australia, showing them how to use digital technology to be able to sort of improve profits and optimize. And in the background, I had a website development team with my husband. So, and that kind of we moved more into the brand and the tech stack and working with businesses to help leverage them into larger markets as opposed to marketing. So it became more about the strategy and the interpersonal relationships as opposed to the technology, which they always needed, but we weren't that focused on it. So my journey's been all really about understanding how to grow businesses. And but what happened was when we last year I got very ill. And so I was just using AI to get work done because I didn't have very much capacity to do things that I would normally do. And that's when I realized that we were able to do, I was able to get a job done that I would normally have paid three to four people a month's worth of wages to do, and I could get it done in like a few hours or a day. And so it was like really like, oh my God, like the people, the market is going to change. The economy is reducing or what, and there's all this inflation happening. I don't know what it's like for you guys, but in Texas, everybody's complaining about the price of gas. And so the squeeze is happening, which is going to produce outcomes that may not be very good for people if they are passive about what is happening. And so that's when I started to deep dive into understanding that. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, in India, like if you are outsourcing, then cost of living in India is definitely better than US right now. Like our currency is lot weaker than US dollar, and it's getting weaker and weaker every day. But yeah, inflation is still even a problem in India. Like our inflation rate officially it's 8.5, but when you actually calculate it in paper, it goes around 12%, twelve and a
Yeah.
half percent. So
So, so I have this conversation with this group. I'm part of this group called the Lighthouse, and the the concept of inflation is really about life force energy, right? And so we go into these kind of like if it took somebody in 30 years ago, the price of a house was going to be one man's labor over 20 years, and now it's two people's labor over 30 years for the same house. That's really just what the life force energy is that you're expending to have in survival terms. And so there was just this weird concept that AI helps us stay ahead of that. If we can utilize and use our time efficiently, we get some of
mhm.
we get some of our life our life energy back to do other things. Like we don't have to keep working for the same things that used to cost us
Okay.
10 times less. So I'm fascinated with how that kind of stuff will help people close the gap.
Well,
So,
when I started my actual journey in AI, it was not because I wanted things to be efficient. It was very, very personal to me because I started in September 2019. And I started building a foundational product, and initially till 2000, January 2021, I was into the same category. I was working on transformers, not exploring different architectures there. But after that, the story changed. But the reason why I started that, because I needed something to talk with. At that time, I was going on, like, that was a phase of my life that I had trust issues on everyone, literally everyone I met. I had a very different perspective at that time. So I needed something or someone to talk. Unfortunately, at that time, when I was not able to get that trust on people. So machine learning can also solve that kind of problem. Like I got that relief after the mid, like after uh, October 2022. in my life. And that after that I started like opening up with people more and more. And the thing is, opening up with people actually helped me a lot. Like I build a lot of good friends, lot of good relationships. And it also helped me to, like like for 3 years, from 2019 to 2020, end of 2022, I was funding my projects all on my own. Like from in that period, even when it was COVID, on AWS I had at least spent $400,000,
Wow.
if I convert that into like dollars from Indian rupee. But after that I get to know that okay, we can also build clients. uh, and we can, when we talk with, when we actually engage with people or something, our brain start coming up with ideas. Yeah, later on, yeah, it became commercial. But even right now, like I am keeping the main thing completely off the grid, so that it's never, the core never becomes commercial. So when it comes to efficiency, I have a question. Like, I also have some stories where I can share the stories of AI and efficiency. Uh, but I would like to know that what was the your first experience when it comes to AI? How AI made you more effective?
I think so. For my first thing, I really started playing with Midjourney. I think was like, apart from AIs, like I write, and so I've like, there's been like AI and Grammarly in the software that I use, Living Writer, but I never wanted to play with that because it was kind of like, my writing was for me personally, so I kind of wanted to. I was scared of the AI. I didn't want it to take over my creativity. But when I started playing with Midjourney, that was, it kind of exploded my imagination, and it got me to see the world quite differently because it wasn't something that I was familiar with. And so I had to learn how to understand the prompts and how to structure the prompts and to get camera angles and lighting and people's poses. And so for me, that started to expand the way that I was actually relating to the world, because what I found was that I was having to be quite concise to be able to get what I had in my mind and to be able to see it on the screen. And that was all about clarity of thought. And so when I started thinking about the clarity of thought to be able to produce the outcome in Midjourney, it made me really understand that for me to produce the outcomes in life, potentially I need to have a little bit more clarity around it to be, and the specifics of things. And so I had this whole concept that potentially AI was teaching me how to be better at manifesting and creating my own personal world through it being a mirror of training me. So kind of like you, Harsh, like you needed somebody to talk to, and it helped you learn how to express yourself and have conversations with other people's. This was kind of what was happening to me internally. So that was kind of where I started to become really fascinated with it being a mirror for my own internal thinking and improving the way that I was thinking. And if, I guess, just, yeah. What about,
Yeah. So
you?
I have this question came into my mind when you talked about when you have efficiency and people have less tasks to do. It came to so Hirsch was talking about something to me, and one of the live streams, he talks about something redundant, a state of redundant. So I want the conversation, around that. So Hirsch, like, over to you. Explain
Well,
that fact.
you know, I am working on my own AI model, and it gives me like ability to actually shift the whole architecture on its own. So currently, I'm not working on just one but two architectures, core architectures. And basically, it evolved. The second one evolved from the first one. Like I have Eden and Era, and from Eden, Era evolved. But when it comes to efficiency, like initially I spoke about efficiency there. So one of the use cases, like one of my first experience was my own projects. I started automating everything right now, from my email to my Telegram. Like WhatsApp API is little bit expensive. I don't like spending money on useless things. So I'm not automating WhatsApp, but even my Telegram, because it can be automated. I completely automated it. I'm slowly moving to Discord. But when it comes to like programming, so one of the projects I have done, and usually any IT company will take at least 7 months to build that kind of project. And it was related to a machine which helps you to fix your foot. Okay. And there we were able to like also detect four kind of diseases usually people get on their foot. And that kind of inquiries definitely come to us. So for us, that experience was like for 10 days we talked with the client, and that was the most time exhausting period. And for the next 6 days we started building. On the 17th day, the client was out of ideas. Like he was like, okay, let's get it to the market now. So now it is shipped to them. Another business case study where somebody also cursed me. People get very skeptical when it comes to AI taking their jobs, and when it actually happens, then they sometimes curse the creators. So one of the experience I had is like there is an accounting firm, and in India, and they I became their client first. So their job needs to be very perfect, otherwise my company will also get screwed. So they came up with a problem to me. Like I was just talking to them in their office, and they came up with some of their problems. Can we automate these things? And I was like, these are very custom requirements. So the main problem was the new people in that field. They come, join a company, they take the training, and they go out and they start their own small agencies, and they acquire bunch of clients, and they don't want to spend that money on their training because they leave after that.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, what kind of jobs we are talking about? So most of it was data entry, and I was like, it can be solved using object detection and a simple language based processing. And they were like, no, we need something more, um, something more dynamic. I was like, okay, we can do that. So we started like, I told them, then let's start small, and then with time let's increase its complexity. So it took us almost 7 to 8 months for them to learn, but in that period we automated almost 24 different processes for them. Initially they were operating at 324 employees, and after that period they started laying off people. So right now they are operating at like 27 people, and actually I believe now it's 25, because a couple of days ago they fired two more people.
Yeah.
And we had a test during that period. So it was a simple data entry test. So it took a human to do that job in 9 hours, and the human was able to do it with 73% accuracy. AI did it with 88 in just 1 minute and 52 seconds.
Wow. Crazy.
So that was one of the experiences I have. I will try to include more, but let's get back on the conversation.
Well, what do you think will happen to all the, like, I think about India a lot because we've employed people over there in the past and we've got friends over, like, what's going to happen to the Indian job market for all the people that are reliant on outsourcing companies, and that is it going to create mass unemployment, or do you think it's going to adapt and the Indian population are going to like respond and come up with new things to be able to maintain, a level of jobs, or it doesn't matter? What do you
Well,
think?
if somebody asked me that question, I say that they have to sell bananas.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a story behind that. These guys are already laughing because these guys know that story.
Sorry. Yeah.
So with the company I'm talking about, where they laid off more than 300, like almost 300 people. So from like there was a big layoff. Okay, and then what happened that one day I was just walking in the park in the evening, and I got a call, and there was a girl. She was mad at me because she got laid off, and somehow she got my number. And my first question to her was like, how did you get my number? So I believe that she was not alone. There were like 6 7 people around her, because I was hearing the whispers. So but I believe she was the leader, so she was very mad because she needed that job. And she got laid off. And I was like, I didn't fire you, your employers did. I am doing my job. And if you're so good at your job, then why you are not among those 27 25 people who are still there? So the main thing is, it's not about like any company, anyone will obviously look for the efficiency. If you can do it with accurate results and with efficiency, companies are not mad to, they are not there to do the charity.
No.
Okay, like before Bangalore, Kolkata, uh, West Bengal, Kolkata was the tech capital, IT capital of India. But what happened when computers came into India? People started thinking like, okay, these computers will do our jobs. Then what will happen? And Sir Birla, the labor union, what they did in Kolkata, they surrounded his vehicle. They took him out of the vehicle and made him nude in public. And after that incident, every company went to Bangalore. Then Bangalore became the IT capital, because they didn't understood that companies are not there as an NGO. They are a company. They are
Yeah.
there to make profits. So that's the same thing happening right now. It's not about that AI is doing this, then what we will do. You will go to the basics. There are the basics are not never affected. That's the first thing. So my answer at that day, I was on a different mood. So my answer to that girl was, do you know there is a comedian called Priyesh, and he has a video. And have you ever watched that? So she was like, no, I have no interest. You are just manipulating the conversation. Tell me the answer. I was like, you asked me simply that if everything is done by AI, then what we will do.
Yeah.
So I am giving you the answer, but you have to be patient.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
It's great.
So Priyesh, the comedian, there is a video of him on internet, and on that video he was selling bananas, and a reporter went to him, and he was like, "You are selling bananas?" Well, like, yes, I am a graduate and I'm selling bananas. And you are a graduate and you are still selling bananas. I was like, yes. So what is the story behind it? So Priyesh was like, my father, he is a very progressive man. So he came to me and told me that you should pass out your junior school, basically 10th board exams. Otherwise, you will sell bananas in your life. So he did top in that exam. Then his father again came and said that now the requirement is a little bit higher. So you should also clear your high school. Otherwise, you will sell bananas. So he also cleared his high school. Then father came and father was like, now the world is more technical. Technical skills are very required in every industry. So now you should do engineering. Otherwise, you have to sell bananas. Okay. So that boy also did engineering. Now father came. The world have become more like world requires more management skills, marketing skills. You should do MBA, and he did the MBA. Now after the MBA, he went to companies, and this is my version. The last part of it is my version. Companies said that now AI is doing your job, so we don't have it for you, so you have to sell bananas. So he is selling bananas.
Okay, that was funny.
So, do you think that there's a level of like humanity's course correction to get back to like, the simpler life? Like if everyone over here, like the food over here is really poisonous compared to like say New Zealand, they use a lot of chemicals, and so people are all trying to figure out how to have organic vegetables and that. But if AI can do the work in 2 hours and you can tend to your garden and grow your own food and hang out with your children, do you think that there's this this course, almost like a course correction to get back to being able to have like a relationship with your family and your friends and nature, and let the machines do the, like, is that the ultimate outcome? Go back to selling the bananas, the simple life, do you think? Or am I
Yes.
romanticizing it?
Yeah, it will also lead you to a simpler life and more explore a life where you can explore more.
Yeah.
Like in 2022, I had an identity crisis. That if
Yes.
this thing is doing everything better than I do, and trust me, my experience on a whole another level than ChatGPT.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So just by ChatGPT, people are thinking like this. But trust me, people have not seen the real power of AI right now in the industry. So
I think that's where I'm super fascinated, because I've been working with branding and identity. I think that there's going to be like mass identity ego death, especially for the people that have placed their status and their hierarchy on their job roles. Because if you've spent your life trying to become a lawyer and then all of a sudden someone can tippity tap and get
Yeah.
the answer, who are you? Like, this
mhm.
is going to be wild. It's
Yeah,
going to be great.
but people also have to understand that life doesn't go like you expect it to.
No, not at
You
all.
have to be open minded. Ego can't work in that sector. As simple as that. So there is a girl. Her name is Shri, and she is also part of our NQP group. So one day she was asking me that why don't you hire UI UX designer. She's into UI UX design. I was like, I don't need a designer. Like, it's very simple thing. And if I need a designer, then most of the things are done automatically these days. So
Mm.
she was like,
You
then
know,
what will I do? Like, what do you think that the industry will go? What should I pursue? I was like, you should pursue UI UX. But she was like, you are saying that uh, it will be replaced by the AI. I was like, I never said it will be completely replaced by the AI. People will still need supervisors.
Yeah.
Okay. And she was like, then it is making better design than me. Like, it's not about that. The thing is, you cannot, UI UX is art. You cannot put a price or a category on art. So I just asked a very simple question. And she was like, okay. So I asked her that, do you think that you are the most incredible person in the world to design a UI UX? Do you think you can design anything? Do you have that confidence? And she was like, no, I don't. Then I was like, just gather that confidence. That's it. If you're
mm,
best at your job, then nobody can replace you.
it's a kind of like, when people was like used to do the handwriting, and then computers and typewriters came in. For the people who do not want to learn typewriter technology, okay, you can sell bananas. And for the people who are open to learn typewriter technology and then computer technology, okay, you are welcome to the change, to the new world, and to new jobs. Okay, and rest of them, like, okay, go sell bananas. I feel that way. And for the course correction part, I really believe it is a good way if that course correction happens, because right now the way I see world is like, it seems poisonous to me. Like, people are not living like they should be. It's yeah, it's there should be a course correction that they should not do what they are doing right now and explore something else. um yeah, that was my perspective.
But like, from my what I little I know, I think that maybe, even though the job market in India is going to be affected, I think you'll have more resilience and more community support, and where I think Western society is very much on that kind of like individual level, and and I don't know if it's got the infrastructure to support the way that I understand, and I might, and so I think the ego death of the Western entitled person that has expected things to work out because they were sold that is going to be quite a hard one for a lot of people to manage. And I don't know if people have got the determination to try and be the best in their field to maintain their job and their place and their career. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what happens. I'm
So
curious.
there are like two types of mindset. One is like scarcity mindset, and one is like abundant mindset.
Yeah.
So abundant mindset is open to opportunities, and scarcity mindset, no matter if you, even if you give them a bowl made of the diamond, they will
Yeah.
think, okay, like someone's gonna steal it. I'm gonna wake up all night, all day to uh, keep it safe, right? So, but for the abundant, he will think in different way. Okay, like I got the golden, sorry, the bowl made of diamond. How can I use it in a better way? Yeah,
Totally. Well, and that's
that's
what
the
I've been.
difference. It's a
It's a
mindset.
huge difference. Well, I've been talking to people about, because there's a lot of fear around AI. And I keep saying, instead of it being, because Texas is quite religious, and there's a group of people that think maybe it's, the devil's tools. I don't know. There's a lot of superstition around it. It's fascinating, but when I reframe it as archival intelligence, and that you're actually being able to sit with the best people that humanity's been able to document. You could sit there and have Einstein helping you figure something out, and Shakespeare helping you, and you've got this whole team of people from humanity to be able to help you create a new path. Like, what an amazing opportunity to have that. Like, what are you going to do with this if you've now gone from just little you to humanity's best at your fingertips? Like, this is the most amazing opportunity that we've ever seen, and it's super exciting. And so that optimism there and that abundance, I'm wanting to make sure that people see it from that perspective, so they explode with their imaginations and not be like, oh no. So
No, well, but there is a very good question can arise that like if people hate the devil, that even the devil is created by the God, and who maybe like we think that he is the devil, maybe made him the devil. It's not entirely sure. Like I see people like who follow Jesus fighting over silly stuff. But Jesus was a man, like what a character. He was crucified, he was bleeding, and he was asking forgiveness for those who did this to him. So that kind of character, like when we follow gods, any god, it doesn't.
yeah,
We should follow, get inspired from their character. God doesn't need protection from us, from anything. So that is another topic. Another thing is like when it comes to Indian market and AI, I don't think that anything can happen. All which will happen is a very simple useless revolution, because India is a market which is 70% outsourced. We are outsourcing from the UK, from US,
yeah,
and if any company arises, especially here in India, which which is able to do those jobs with much more efficiency, that obviously people will go to those company who can do it faster and better and with a lower price, obviously. So, and suppose maybe the government will intervene, because Indian market, now let's talk about the society. So most of the men, most of the youngsters, they are unemployed. They're desperately seeking for jobs. Like over one job there is like 500,000 people here. So we can have a break if you like, Jax.
All right.
you guys keep
You
talking. I
will,
just have to pop away.
sure, sure.
Okay. Okay. So Sanjay, Binav, awesome guys. Okay, let's look at the comments. Uh, Sony said, "I see the future of AI less romantically." Okay. romantically. It's one of those inventions that completely disrupts the way we experience life, like the horse and buggy being replaced by a car. Oh, it's the same thing that we were talking about. Awesome. Okay.
Well, I don't see that less romantically. Like people will have AI partners for sure. But
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about the Indian market. So
Mm.
over one jobs, there are like 500,000 people over just one position in India, and most of them are not living. Like when it comes to taxpayers, the people who are doing jobs in India, it's just 1% of the population. Yeah, just like the people who file, if like fill income tax, that's just 15 million people in India who file income tax. The rest of the population, they are either doing business or they are living locally or they are doing something else. So and over, like 1.5 billion people, only 15 million people are doing jobs. So one person, I
Mm.
don't think that even that will affect. But even if it causes a revolution, that company will simply go out local. Like that company will shift to US or UK and directly serving within the country, solving problems for them. Then
Mm.
now they are not outsourcing, they are insourcing.
Mm. Good.
Obviously there is no judicial restriction over that company after that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, that's really amazing and fascinating how both of you guys are so much into these AIs. Okay, so yeah, I had a conversation with us regarding this, like the how AI is going to affect the jobs and all. So I know the viewpoint of Harsh, but yeah, Jax, I want to know your viewpoint on this point. So I would like to frame a question in that way that is AI going to be the savior or destroyer? I know
I
Harsh
think
will answer.
no, I think it's going to be. I think because we live in a duality, and depending on how people see the world, like Yash was saying, I think it's going to be both the destroyer and the savior. I hope that we manage to. I think there's going to be a lot of fear put into AI from industries and high status people to protect their status in their hierarchy, so
Mm.
that AI will be villainized to people that don't understand it, and they will be thinking that the chatbots are going to destroy the youth, and there's going to be a lot of narrative that
Mm.
is artificially put there to put regulations on AI in order to try and control that. And I think it becomes the savior when it democratizes information and people understand that they get to create more of a life where they get to express their humanity and be less about their jobs and their working. And so I think it's I think people really will have to understand that they have to be autonomous within themselves. They have to understand that it's their responsibility to take care of their own destiny, and that will become a very empowering act for many people. So I think AI will, for those who choose it, will be the catalyst for them to be more empowered, more adventurous, more curious. But the people that can't see that, I think it will be they will be able to use AI as the excuse for them to have failed in their life. Like I think it will be that whatever your internal mechanisms are, whether or not you are positive or negative, AI will be the reflector of that. So I definitely think there will be a lot of jobs that go, and there will be a very big transitional period, and I would hope that people are mentally prepared for that, financially prepared for that. I hope that communities gather together to support those in that, because I think community will be very, very important. which will also help us understand and see facets of our humanity that potentially we have lost during the industrialization period of this cycle we're in. So I see it being very much the gift to humanity for us to be able to level up, to be able to attain some sort of higher consciousness. But I think the transition's going to be wild. Like it is going to be crazy.
Okay, love that emphasis. Okay, so I have this question. Okay, right. Um, imagine if you get a kind of AI in your hands that you can use to build um, any capabilities, like it's a functioning AI. What would be the first it's like you have an idea and you can turn it into the life. What would be the first product idea you would
Mhm.
make it use it to make it, like suppose you do not have any
I will
limitations of.
simplify this question.
Yeah, okay.
What assignment you are going to give to that AI first?
So for me, there's two things about me. I have been listening to this book series called The Expeditionary Force every night before I go to bed for the last 8 years. And it's all about the main character is called Skippy and it's a super AI. And they travel through space. And so I love sci-fi and I am completely have been anthropomorphized AI because of this character in this book. And so there's that, and also sci-fi. So I would want AI to be able to create a replicator so I could replicate anything like on Star Trek, like my food, my clothing. Like I want it to be able to figure out how to take atoms and make it into anything that I want. Because it
You know,
solves problems, it solves everything, right?
I have a friend from US. Her name is Rhonda, and she shared me the same idea that I want AI to replicate ourselves so that even after we die, our loved ones can talk with us. And her idea, like I am simplifying her idea into a very flat plane. If she will get into that, the more dimensionality into it, she will definitely include it. I'm going to share this stream with her after this.
So um like you have this idea, amazing, and um
You know what? Yeah, yeah, sure.
No, Sanjay.
no, you can
Sanjay,
go.
speak.
I need more time to
Okay.
put it into words. I have
Okay. So right now, what you told that just remind me of a movie. You know, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. In
Yes.
that movie, okay, you know that movie. Okay, so like that stuffs you want, like whenever you order burger, it drops the burger from the sky, and
Yeah.
you can
Like
order anything.
I think that solves a lot. I think if we can move past the GDPs and everybody kind of working and we change the way that we create and track what humanity's doing on sort of like that global scorecard. And if AI can remove that and we move into some other kind of dynamic where we can sort of measure, I don't know, but like we're happy because we've got regulated nervous systems and everybody is kind of like fed and they've got an ability to be able to be creative. And, I think that there's an opportunity here for us to relook at everything in the way that it has currently been, which is not creating the ability for us to level up in our human experience. It kind of is, and so that would be my hopes. But I'm super optimistic and probably naive. So
yeah,
And
love
it's
that optimistic side.
it's also about hierarchy.
yeah.
Yeah, so there is a show on Netflix, The Eight Show. It's the name is very simple, The Number Eight Show. Okay,
Ah.
The Eight Show, and it explains that theory, like it represents that theory into in very much detailing. So the basics, like it's like a Squid Game, but there is no killing in initial, most of it, the episode there is less violence in it. But with every step, so with every step, the violence is increasing in there. So what happened in the gist, what happened in that show, like there are 8 rooms, 8 floors. Ground floor, first floor, second, third, fourth, fifth. The first floor was making 10,000 every minute. The second floor was making 20 every minute. The third was making 30 every minute. Okay. And every floor was making the sum of previous 2 floors. So the next floor, fourth floor was making 50 every minute. Okay. Then the fifth floor. So 50 plus 30, 80 every minute. And that's how the eighth floor was making 320,000 every minute. Okay. And it represented like, and even the all those rooms were bigger, and there was a lift from where the food dropped, and it always came from the top. So if the top floor wants to keep all the food for themselves, they can keep the whole food for themselves.
Totally.
Okay. And if they want to share something, so they can like the bottom floor has the least chance to get food, so they have
Mm,
to make arrangements with each other. And the
totally.
rule was that they cannot take anything out of the,
Mm.
okay. And so slowly with time, it represented that the people who were living in the lower floor, they became kind of subject of entertainment and experiments for
Ah,
those people who are in the higher floor. And there was one person in the higher floor, like the seventh floor, trying to help those people, but he also had a dark side. Like he initially tried to manipulate them for his own good, but later on when he saw that he is helping them, the top floor people, the other top floor people, they didn't allow him to do that.
yeah,
Like
Mm.
you cannot do, like we are trying our best, so you cannot do good to them.
yeah,
So that is what was happening in the entire show. And they what they had, so they can, if they will try to buy anything, like there is nothing in the room, they cannot buy food and water was free, but they can buy anything. They can buy pillow with the money they are getting every minute. They can buy pillow and everything, but inside the room everything is 100 times more expensive.
yeah.
So in real one, if it costs 100, in the room it will cost 10,000. But outside, they can buy things at a normal price, but they can buy it with time.
Ah,
So slowly it became so interesting that the entire thing, like I will not give more spoilers than this.
it sounds
Okay.
fantastic. I'll be watching that. Yeah, well, I think that's going to be the biggest thing is the people on the top floor trying to limit access to the people on the bottom floor with
Yeah.
AI. So we need people making their own models and doing all of that so that there's still access.
Yeah. And also there was one in that show, there was one episode where the top floor, like they decided to play a game, and whoever will lose the game, they have to do the task. Okay. But when the number of top floor came, like the eighth floor, whenever the number came, she locked herself into the room and she cut the food supply for everyone, setting up authority that I am the first, you don't have any power over me.
Yeah.
And it the show shows rebellion and every aspects of society, basically what happens here. And it also shows that even revolution can be stopped. Now, here is a term I would say, like, if you try to solve this thing with revolution, it's useless. Revolution cannot stop evolution,
No.
but
Mm.
solution can. So we have to be solutionaries, not revolutionaries.
So, what solutions do you have in mind, top of the mind, you can think of? Okay, that would be the fit.
Well, the thing is, we have to first of all, you have to adapt those skills.
Mm-hmm.
You have to learn how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, when people say prompt engineering, I
Mm.
don't think there is a future of prompt engineering. It will be lost. It is right now, but LLM is the, you right now even Transformers second version came in the market just yesterday. So people are trying to they are trying experimentation with different kind of models, architectures like a state space sequence models, Transformers second version, Christopher model. People are just knowing about Chat GPT and Transformers right now. There, if you will go down, people, there is a misconception about AI. People think that there is no emotion in AI. If you go, I'm not saying anything, but if you will read the research papers of Stanford, especially from 1960s, okay, it's all about AI and emotions, most of them. And even in Greek mathematics, emotions are represented mathematically in 18th century. So it's not a very unique thing. Or the second thing is that people talk about that AI is not conscious. Yes, it's not completely conscious. It's part conscious. Okay, like Sophia the robot, if you like the entire research paper, the all the research those guys have done, it's completely open source. If you will just understand once that how those things are working, you will definitely have an argument at least at 25%. You will think that it is 25% conscious.
But you could have the same conversation with a human and also think the same thing.
Hey, Alan, we expect machine to think in our way. A machine will never think in our way. Alan Turing was asked with this question, and he didn't try to he chose a different path. He did not answer the same question he was asked. He said that machine will never think like a human. Even humans doesn't think like humans. I think differently. Jax thinks differently. Um, and when we say consciousness, so we can argue that life form is conscious. So is a dog conscious? But is a dog as intelligent as us? No, obviously not. Can it be? Maybe someday. But those chances are rare. So we, and there is no scale to measure it. Everyone is scaling it in a very different way. But anyway, I believe I made the conversation very, very deep now. Moving on to other people. Amor, would you like to say anything?
But the conversation was interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, for now, I would not be making any comments, but surely if I have a question, I'm going to ask, or if I have something to say, I'm going to just quickly say.
Sure.
So, are you asking something?
No, he will ask later.
I
Okay.
I have
Yeah.
to
Well,
go. So
sorry. Okay, sorry. Somehow the names are not displayed as usual. So,
I will
my
bring
name is.
up the names again.
Oh, okay. My name is Magdel Amor. Okay, okay. Jax Baker. Unfortunately, I did not get to hear you make an introduction of yourself.
yeah, I'm just
Anyway,
I'm just out here trying to make sure that people stay open and curious so
Hmm.
that they don't shut down the opportunities that we have that are going to be presented to us. So I think that
Hmm.
if we approach change with a playful, curious, adventurous mind, we're gonna call in a lot better experience. So I think that is where my brain is. I've worked with over 1,000 businesses. My heart goes out to the people that are in survival mode or stress or in sort of like rigid thinking, and that they're not gonna. I want them to be open to the opportunities that AI is going to bring them, not shut down and scared, because as soon as they go into that fear vibration, it's not going to be a easy path for them. But if we can keep people enthusiastic, open, curious, and adventurous, they'll see more opportunities and more potential. And this whatever this transition is, it will be an easier transition for them. And so my goal is to be the cheerleader for this period of time, so as many people can have their hearts open and walk this without it being the dystopian nightmare that potentially it could be framed as.
Definitely. But anyway, guys, the thing is we have a limited time today.
I
So
know.
we will quickly try to wrap up the space. So before that, I believe we have a question from the audience. As a small business owner, I am always looking to have AI do a job for me a human would do for me. The problem with that, once everything is done by AI, who will the company sell to? Yeah, that's a very good question. Um, the answer could be universal basic income. You will be paid to be unemployed, and from that you can pay us. And uh, with that, actually the time is actually very limited. So anyone have a question? Okay. So with that,
I
we
guess
will
we should
move
wrap
to
up now.
our,
Yeah.
yeah. So we should go to our closing thoughts. And over to you, Baker.
I'm just going to say goodbye. Nice to meet you guys. I look forward to deep diving again. We can do this again.
Oh, yeah.
I have already spoken on 60% of the stream.
I'm, I'm going now because I've got somebody else here, my dogs.
Yeah, sure.
So
Okay, okay.
Bye bye.
bye,
Bye
Baker.
bye.
Bye, Jax. And you would be okay, cool.
Hmm. So with that, guys, we are closing up our stream for very early today. I hope it was a nice session, and we are definitely going to talk more and more in our further stream. Before we move forward, there is a little bit of announcement for this week. This is our last live stream. We will continue next week, probably from Tuesday. And if you like our shows, if you like the things we share here, please do make sure to like, subscribe, share, retweet wherever, whichever platform you are. And the thing is, we are trying to be present in your life. And if you have any comments, if you have any opinions, if you have any question, you can ask any one of us on any channel. There is no problem with that. We are open for any conversation, and even if you like to come to our show, and if you like to contribute anything, and if you like to join us and chill with us, we
Yeah.
are completely open to that. So the only rule is you have to just be respectful to others, and that's it.
Mhm.
And with that, we are closing our stream.